Hello fantasy managers and welcome back to another video from myself, Will, and fantasyfootballhub.co.uk. I hope you have survived the international break. As always, in this video we're going to be taking a very brief look at how I got on last game before moving on to my team, my transfers and my captain for the upcoming game week. Let's get into it. Okay, so very briefly touching on game week 11 because it does feel like a little bit of a lifetime ago now. Team did pretty well on the whole, 69 points all out. A nice green arrow up from 130k to 78k. The previous game week, which I didn't cover because I was away, I did actually get a red arrow, similar red arrow actually. I went from around 80k obviously to 132k. So game week 11, got me going back in the right direction again. The defense scoring pretty well across the board. Cancelo and Trent coming away with double-digit hauls. Livramento chipping in with a clean sheet, as is Ramsdale. Got my rotation with Ramsdale and Foster wrong again. I kind of went for the Ramsdale-Foster combination, so I didn't actually have to think about goalkeeper rotation. But obviously Foster's playing now. I'm having to think about it, and I'm getting it wrong. I always find goalkeeper rotation a little bit tricky. But having said that, I do think the Ramsdale-Foster combo is probably the best goalkeeper combo to have at the moment and looking like one of the best keeper combos to have throughout the rest of the season. So I'm very happy to have those going forward. In midfield, Rafinha ticking along very nicely. He's looking like a great fantasy pick and actually beginning to churn out the fantasy points, backing up his previously good statistics. So very happy with him. Salah coming in, chipping in with an assist, doubling as my captain, so can't really complain. The big sort of weakness at the moment with my team is that I've got three forwards, and those three forwards aren't particularly doing too well. The main one there is Vardy. Since I brought him in, he's basically done absolutely nothing. And spoiler alert, we are going to talk a little bit about Harry Kane and potentially doing the Vardy to Kane transfer. Okay, so moving on to the main talking point this week, which is of course Harry Kane and the Spurs assets. I think that Son, as we'll come to later, is looking like a great option as well, as is Reguilon and Emerson at the back. Those two guys looking strong. The main reason we're talking about Spurs is obviously the fixtures there. As you can see, Leeds, Burnley, Brentford, Norwich in the next four. It's a ridiculously good fixture run. It is, of course, the classic form versus fixtures debate. Apart from the international duty, Kane has been in horrific form, as have Spurs. And, their attacking numbers for the season are pretty awful. We can have a brief look at Kane's comparison to last season as well. Okay, so this is the Fantasy Football Hub comparison tool, as many of you will know. And what I want to do is actually compare Kane this season to Kane last season. And as you can see, they don't even compare. Kane this season in blue is a complete shadow of his former self. Kane last season in red. All the key metrics are down. His shot volume's down. His expected goals are down. His expected assists, his actual goals and assists, they're all down from last season. And given that his price is based on last season's stats, and previous seasons as well, then at 12.2 million, he's looking very steep to say the least based on these numbers. But the counter argument to that is that one, they have incredible fixtures. You couldn't ask for better fixtures than they do have. Two, we're expecting a new manager bounce in Conte coming in, and three, Klaas's permanent form is temporary. He's obviously got some goals in the international matches. Obviously, that wasn't against super strong opposition, but strikers love scoring goals, and hopefully that could give him a little bit of confidence. Personally, then, I think that Kane is actually a really strong option, and the fact that you can captain him potentially makes him even more attractive option. He could be a great differential captain, someone that could go in and begin to smash the template up a little bit. Obviously, it is a risk. Obviously, he's shown absolutely no form to date, and he's very expensive. I think that if you've got someone like Vardy in your team and you can make the Vardy to Kane switch for free, then I think there's a very strong argument to make for that move, because Vardy has been similar to Kane over the last few game weeks. His numbers have completely dropped off, and he's not getting any fancy returns either. Coupled with that, Leicester's fixtures aren't particularly good either, and Kane's are very attractive. Okay, so this is how the team is currently lining up for the upcoming game. Unfortunately, I've only got one free transfer and I've only got 0.1 in the bank. So I cannot do Vardy to Kane. The only realistic way I could look to bring Kane into my side is Vardy to Kane and then Diaz down to somebody like a Lamptey. And I really like Lamptey as a pick, but I'm going into the Christmas period. I'm pretty hesitant to bring him in, given his injury record and all the rest of it. But you know, he's looking fantastic, and I think that if I was going to go for that move, then I probably would take a little bit of a punt on Lamptey and hope that, you know, Livramento can come into my side when Lamptey, you know, potentially gets benched over the busy Christmas period or pulls his hamstring or what have you. So that's one move that I am considering. And one option is going for that hit. I'm a little bit hesitant, although I'm quite keen on Kane. I'm a little bit hesitant to bring him in for a hit. You know, with somebody who hasn't got that form, then it is a little bit of a risk. I probably would captain him though. If I did bring in him, I probably would captain him, and you know that can certainly negate some of the hit. The other potential move that I am considering is Vardy down to, you know, a very cheap budget striker, someone below 5 million, and then look at Douglas Luiz, who's obviously currently injured and not doing anything in my team, up to Son. So obviously that move deals with the Douglas Luiz problem. It also allows me to keep hold of Diaz that, you know, I like for the short term, but I also like having 4 premium defenders. You know, it looks like that, you know, Cancelo, Trent, Chilwell are all fantastic options. I obviously really like Reece James as well, and be quite keen to go for the double up with Chilwell and James. The other player that I am also considering, which I haven't mentioned in this video, but I do think is a fantastic option, and that is Jota. The big question marks over him are, you know, that currently Firmino and Mane are flagged, and you know, if I think Mane is probably, you know, one of those international injuries, but Firmino potentially could be out a little bit longer. If he is out for a considerable amount of time, then I actually think Jota becomes a little bit of a no-brainer. You know, he's basically playing as a central striker in one of the most attacking teams that we've seen, you know, in recent years in the Premier League, and he's coming in as a midfielder at 7.5. You know, I do think that when you kind of look at it in that sense, Jota becomes a little bit of a no-brainer if Firmino is out for a long period. No doubt if I do get rid of Vardy, I'll probably go and get a brace against Chelsea, as is often the way against Vardy. His fantasy points are often a little bit difficult to predict. The other option, of course, that I've got is just doing nothing, holding a transfer, having a little bit more flexibility next week, seeing if I think Son or Kane or Jota is the better option to go for. So there's a little bit up in the air. I haven't made my mind up at the moment, but those are sort of the options that I am considering. In terms of the captaincy, I don't see a particular reason to go away from Salah. I know Arsenal's defence has been all right, but you know, Salah is Salah, and he's got a pretty good record against Arsenal. And Liverpool are just in frightening form at the moment. So I do think they are going to score, and I do think that Salah's going to be involved. I would say that if I do bring Kane in, or potentially if I do bring Son in, I would be very tempted to captain them. So that is the slight caveat there. But yeah, at the moment, I'm a little bit unsure of my transfers. Let me know in the comments which of those transfers you think is best. Let me know in the comments as well whether you think I'm crazy to even be considering Spurs assets. But otherwise, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please do drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And good luck for the upcoming game week. I'll see you on the other side. Bye for now.